Hey everybody, welcome to the armory today. Bench is a mess. I got a lot of stuff going on today. But what we're working on today, we've got the model 1917. This is the $100 Gun Broker Challenge rifle that I did a video on a few weeks back. And we're getting ready to send this to the gunsmith for a little bit of work. So basically what I've discovered of looking this over, it's a 1917 Remington. It actually has what I believe is a Winchester bolt. The bolt is stamped W. I believe that would be Winchester. The safety knob is stamped E, which I believe would be Eddystone. Not an expert on these rifles, but it seems like it might be a little bit of a Frankenstein. It is still chambered in 30-06. I tested it with a couple of cases I have, so I'm pretty certain it's 30-06, 30 caliber barrel and whatnot. But today we are going to deal with the scope mount and whatnot. And on the front of the receiver there are 3 holes, and they don't really look straight. All of them are canted a little bit off from each other. The rear, we've got 3 holes. It looks like 2 of them might be in line and 1 of them canted off to the side. And then further down on the side of the receiver, I believe someone has added at one point in time a peep sight to the side of the receiver. So basically we're going to go through the same steps. Likewise with the 300 Imperial Magnum. Now what I've got is the EGW scope base, and it's for the Savage. Like I showcased in the other video, it actually looks like it works fantastic on these receivers. And where I want the scope base to be, it looks like I've got 1 hole lined up on the front of the receiver, and the rest of the holes are just not lining up with anything, completely out in the wild. So I think what's probably best for this is to have the gunsmith address this. And what I'm thinking about having him do is probably TIG up these 3 holes in the back, just plug weld them all and be done with it. That way we can re-drill what we need for the back. The front, I'm not sure about TIG welding on the front ring of the receiver. I'll kind of leave it up to their judgment, because you don't want to mess with the heat tempering and whatnot of the receiver, especially around where the lugs of the bolt are and stuff like that. So I'll kind of lean on them for their expertise when it comes to that. But basically I think the very forward hole, if I line up this hole with the hole in the receiver, this hole I believe is going to be too far forward and will break the very end of the action. It'll break through that end machining of the action. So I'm not going to use this hole, but it looks like we may be able to split the difference and put another screw up here, and that'll be 2 good screws in the front. We'll have to drill and tap for this hole in the rear, but like the other one, we need to take 1 full lug off of this rail for length, and we might be able to get a second screw maybe right behind it, but again it's going to be kind of I'll leave it up to them because they know better. So we're going to take this down to the gunsmith today, but first we're also going to be installing a muzzle brake, and it's from Muzzle Brakes and More. These are really good muzzle brakes, and this one is a 9/16 thread. I've actually had this one for quite some time. And I've got a little thread checker right here, which is machined for a 30 caliber barrel, and it fits the outside contour just perfectly. So we'll be able to thread the 9/16 thread on almost perfectly with the outside diameter of the barrel. The only other problem is there's a hole drilled right here and tapped. And I believe if you look at the shadow up here, I believe they had a big front aftermarket target sight mounted on the end of the barrel. So my initial thought is maybe we'll clip the barrel back about an inch, get rid of this threaded hole entirely, and then thread it on there. So we're going with the muzzle brake, scope installation, and whatnots. But first, we need to disassemble the rifle, because there's no sense in delivering a fully assembled rifle to the gunsmith just for them to disassemble and reassemble and charge you for it. So, if you know how to turn a screwdriver, save them a little bit of time. It's worth it. So, let's get this thing apart and see how everything looks when it comes apart, because I've actually not taken this one apart yet. So let's get these screws out and see what we can find. Okay, so we got the rifle taken apart. A couple of things to take note of. The M17 has kind of a bolt stop after the last round is fired, and a lot of them that I have come across have the end of the follower, the round follower in the magazine, ground off into a little ramp that keeps the bolt from locking open on an empty magazine. So that's been done to that. The magwell is a flat magwell, and I don't know the history of these. I know they're you'll find both flat ones and the little dog leg ones out there. I don't know if they came both ways, or if this is something that people did, but it's got a flat magwell. The stock, I really like these older stocks. I really like how they finish up well when you clean them up, but this one's got a big chip right out of the rear part of the action, and that's kind of a bad thing. I was thinking maybe able to fill it with epoxy, but it looks like there's a crack coming off the end of that. I'm guessing maybe a big crack right there. Guessing this stock has just seen better days. So I don't know what I'll do with this. I thought about basically going through and epoxying the bed so it's nice and sturdy, and then maybe filling that in with wood filler or epoxy or something. But this stock may just be too beat up over the years to try to save. Look at that crack. Yeah, that's kind of a shame. Really nice looking stock, really nice looking wood, but some of them you just can't save. So I'm going to put this one aside, and we'll come back to that at a later date. Now for the action, no surprises. I think someone did refinish it. I think they polished just the crap out of this barrel. The finish is actually in really good shape. There's a couple of marks that may be left over from proof stamping and whatnot. Now I set this up against a known military barrel. The contour looks right for a military barrel, so I don't think it's an aftermarket barrel. Definitely has an alignment stamp in it. There's a couple of stamps in the barrel that weren't polished out, but overall the finish actually looks pretty darn nice in this. So I don't think we need to do much other than probably just preserve it for what it is. Now the barrel is about an inch shorter already than the military barrel that I set it up against, which is a full-length uncut military barrel. If we trim back just past the screw, it'll leave a 22-inch barrel, which I think is acceptable for a 30-06. So, other than that, no real surprises. Everything's there. Everything seems to be functional. And everything's in pretty decent shape. So, we're going to go ahead and get this to the gunsmith, get the muzzle brake and the scope rail installed. And this project is actually, girlfriend's daughter wants to get into shooting big rifles. And what better way than a good old classic M1917 with a muzzle brake, of course. You don't want people to have rifles that'll really get away from them. 30-06 can be a pretty stout round for youth. She's almost 16, so I think she'll be able to handle it with a muzzle brake. I think it'll be more than easy enough for her to manhandle. And then we're looking at a nice Boyd stock for her to set this in. So we're going to take this to the gunsmith. We'll have plenty of time to pick out a stock and some nice laminate wood, and we're going to get this project, hopefully, get it rolling for her this summer. All right, guys. Well, I'll catch you on another video. Bye now.